Hey, welcome to my channel, Lighting Your Sunshine, where we like to shine a light within and empower ourselves. So today is messages from the Panther. And so I have a spirit guide that likes to help me when it comes to integrating shadow work and things like that. And it's the Panther. And he's with me all the time, so we decided to give him his own day to help with the message. Because when it comes to lighting your sunshine, it's just as important to work with the shadow aspect as well, to integrate them both together. And today was, I didn't know what I was gonna say or do today, but as soon as I wake up, it's like he always gives me the channeled message before. And so I woke up today and I didn't know what I was even gonna say, but I have company over. And my friend, she was staying the night, she forgot her phone, and so she didn't know how to get to the school from my house. And so last night she asked me if I could lead the way, if I could drive in front of her so that she could get onto the right roads. And a part of me inside was just like, ugh. Like I didn't agree right off the bat. Because this time is in the morning, is my only time to myself. And I find my personal time is so important to me. But today I woke up with so much energy and oomph, and I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. And that's where the message came from, right? And so I was driving down the road and the song that came on was, oh, what's her name? It's by Arnold. It's The First Cut is the Deepest. And so that song's been remade by so many people. But once it came on, I knew that that was the message for today. And so there's two things that came from that song that he showed me. The first was that by getting out of my comfort zone, right? Because I'm such a creature of habit, I don't let people take up my morning hours because it's my only me time. And as much as it's important for me to always have my me time, healing with the shadow work happens when you get outside of your comfort zone, right? Because the more and more you keep a routine, sometimes you become almost autopilot, right? And so by going out of my routine is actually where the message and the lesson came from. So that was a blessing. And then the message from the song itself was the first cut is the deepest. And so a lot of the things that we hold within, it happened so long ago. Like the first time, whatever it is that the shadow that we're trying to work on is, that's the deepest wound. So you can work on, and because that's the deepest, and if we never healed it, you create patterns and cycles and karmic cycles. So that's when you find yourself, have you ever just been like, you know, you cut ties, you're like, I'm done with this, but you never did the healing. So you go into a new environment and it's new places, different faces, but you're still playing out the same pattern over and over and over again. And you will. You can never run from your problems until you actually stop and deal with your shadow side, the very, very first cut. And so I knew the first time I heard that song, especially the P.P. Anderson song version, as soon as it played, it was so raw. It was so gritty. I felt it. It had soul. And I was like, that's the original. And so, you know, I went and did all this research, and then I did find out that Cat Stevens originally wrote the song, but he let P.P. Anderson release it, which he eventually released on his own album. And that's kind of what I've noticed about this song, is that the more and more it's remade, it's almost like the less and less that raw, gritty, the soul part of it kind of fades out, right? There's like the Sheryl Crow version, which is like so much like prettier and softer, right, in the 90s and stuff. But when you go to the original, and so that's what my Panther guide was really showing me, that you have to go to the original. And the story of it itself, I find kind of interesting, because Cat Stevens wrote it. He wanted to release it, but he thought that P.P. Arnold or Anderson? I want to say Arnold. I think that's it. I don't have my iPad here to check it out, but that she would be more popular. And she did, and she did her thing, and I love that version. Because like I said, instantly as soon as I heard it, I fell in love with that version, and I knew it was the first real cut. And then Cat Stevens later released it on his, which was just as successful, and even his story is kind of interesting when it comes to the shadow work, right? Like, he went and renounced everything, and then just, that's not part of this story today. That's a different journey. And so, yeah, I was listening to that on my drive as I got out of my comfort zone. Panther showed up, and I was like, okay, today's topic is to go within and to find that first cut, right? The one that actually hurt you. Because after that, each one was just significantly number and number. And you can heal those ones, but if you never deal with the root cause, and it can stem from so many things, right? You could have just been like a little kid and your mom said, be quiet. And from there you thought, oh, I can't talk. And it created such problems for you in so many areas. And it's so simple, right? That maybe you might not even know that that was the first cut. And so healing happens when you get outside of your comfort zone. And that's what I did today, right? I got out in rush hour traffic. I don't drive in rush hour traffic. No, I go the opposite way of rush hour traffic. I only flow. My boss has been asking me to come in earlier for so long. And I'm like, no, like, that's my me time. Sorry guys, just dropped a stack down here. Oh, the sun's coming up. Here comes the sun. Do, 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 do. All right. I don't think that these are the cards for today. I don't have that vibe. So yeah, let's work with the Panther and see how we can, what am I trying to say here? How we can, because maybe we might not know what the first cut was. So how can we peel back the layers to find the first one so that we can heal from it? But I'm just gonna pause this right now because I want to shut the curtains right now. All right, 1 second. Okay, we're back. I can see my face. All right, so what did we just say? Intention was, how can we peel back the layers so that we can focus on the first cut, the one that is the deep-rooted one, so that we can heal and transmute our shadow self, so that we can empower ourselves with the light. So it's just, he's so funny, this guide. He's got quite a humor. I remember, because he's given me so much messages today, and at one point I was doing my own kind of healing with that, and the word lone wolf came up, and he's like, don't you dare bring the wolves into this. They can have a different day. All right. Okay. He's telling me to take out 5 cards, so. Okay, so the very first, I don't know if you can see. Let's see, can you see? I got my cards here. And he kind of created it like, I'm seeing, he told me that this is a cycle. So we're gonna stop at the start of the wheel, and then we're gonna work our way through. So, the first one that he gave was go with the flow, letting go, cleansing, and receiving, but it was in reverse. So in order to understand that you're in a cycle, that needs to be changed, that there is a bit of layers that need to peel back, that's when you'll find that you're not in the flow. Like it seems like everything that you try to do is stopped or blocked. There's just, you know, your heart's not in it. You feel disconnected, right? And so it's very important to go within yourself to actually know how you feel. There's just times that we're so caught up in our mind that, like, you know, you're like, oh, how'd that bruise get there? And people are like, I don't know. It's because I'm not really present, right? They're in this dream illusion state. But when you're fully present in your body and you are living life, you notice, oh yeah, I got hit with the door. I accidentally bumped into it or something. Right? So the first step is to actually notice that you're not connected, that things aren't flowing for you. That's the first step, right? Recognition that you're just not in alignment, and you'll know it because you'll feel it on such a deep level. Think of a time where you were happy and abundant and things were just flowing to you, and no matter where you turned or stepped, it just didn't matter. If a problem came to you, you're like, it's okay, I can solve this and this. But when you're working with the karmic cycle, right, it's like a merry-go-round that you just can't get off. And it's like, it kind of starts like, here's the level, but then each cycle kind of just pulls you deeper and deeper. And you know that this is where you were, but this is where you are now. But it's like a rut. That's it. It's a rut. You just created those grooves so many times, and now it's like a rut feeling. So, all right. So the next one we have is building your world, creation, expansion, and networking. And that one was also in reverse, right? Which I guess we kind of worked on that, right? You're in your rut, right? You're finding that all the people are still the same. It's not filling up your cup. It's keeping you depleted. It's taking you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to go. And it just seems like things aren't working for you. So what I see, because it was in reverse, there is no networking. There's none of that, like, you know, someone reaches out and they're like, hey, I got this good idea. I know you can do blah, blah, and it just explodes. Like, that happens when you heal the shadow self. So what really shows out to me is I see her going within. She's put her hands on her heart. That's compassion. That's kind of when you start giving it to yourself. Right? You can't really, you need lots of hugs a day, but if you don't have that around you, if you just do this, it's almost like a hug for your heart. So I see her going within, showing compassion for herself and just scanning and feeling, how do you feel? Like, I went to this meditation retreat. It was pretty hardcore, actually. You had to take a vow of silence for 10 days. And you meditated for 10.5 hours a day. It was crazy. And by the third day, you have like this, well, I had this like weird moment because there was just parts of my body that I couldn't feel, right? I would like scan things, and there's just certain parts that energetically, it's almost like it brushed over quickly. But when you actually tap into that part, and go and look at the deeper part, that's how you can easily like transmute. So it's really just witnessing. Your attention to even just recognizing that there's a problem is huge for healing. But if you're not gonna stop and look around, look within, that rut just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And the more that you keep doing this pattern over and over again, the farther it is that you realize what the root was, because now you've had this cycle so many times that you might think that it started here, but and you didn't know about this. So you could heal this part, but there's still this part, and it can grow again. So it's really important to just recognize cycles and know what you want and how the energy is proceeding in your life. So the next one we have is, it says miracles with ancient wisdom. So let me see what this card wants to say. So she's got a light within her solar plexus. And so your solar plexus is where the confidence and power come from. It's your like, I can do anything. And let's see, ancient wisdom. It's really showing me, because let's say, you know, when you don't feel good to your stomach, you're like, especially when you're in a situation that you shouldn't be, it does affect your stomach, right? You could have like digestion not working well, like you lose your appetite for life. And, you know, you start to eat the food that just kind of makes you feel comfort in that moment, but then a sore stomach after. But here I see, because they've looked within, done the compassion, noticed this is where the pattern is, and this is as far back as I can get. Sometimes you don't even need to know what the cellular things trapped in are. You can just witness like, oh, I've got a pain here. Look within and say, what is this? And it could say, oh, you know, grief or sadness, or it, you know. And you don't need to know the cycles that got you there, but you feel that in, Cooper, that's not good, don't eat. Okay, sorry. Cats and dogs. Yeah, and then when you, because it said ancient wisdom, go in, tap, and heal that, you kind of heal all these layers without even knowing what the pattern is sometimes. And when that happens, right, you'll notice your life starting to shift and change in different ways. And so if you didn't actually go in the way, because a lot of us like to go, this happened to this happened to this happened. Sometimes you literally can write A to B to C to D. Sometimes you can just go A to Z, and like all the middle part just kind of works itself for you. Okay, so what he's really telling me right now is don't focus on all those problems, because in the middle part, sometimes you need that aha moment. Some people do, but I find a lot of people who are doing shadow work kind of tap in, look within that, and they get stuck in that, right? Because sometimes they romanticize the past or something this happened, and they get trapped in those memories. And it's those memories that need to be released. Or the feeling, right? Each time you kind of go back to a memory, you think that you're going back to that time, but sometimes, I heard somewhere, you know, every time you have a memory, you remember it from the last time that you remembered it. So over time, it kind of gets twisted and distorted a little bit, right? And that's not the case for every memory, but that's what he's showing me is don't get, because now it's almost like a present energy to that past, and it's just creating, I don't know, chaos. So it's like finding that clarity, finding that pain within your body. Most of it is because of emotions and things that happened, and just knowing using that ancient wisdom to heal and transmute that. And so the next card we have is Grateful Optimism, Joyous View of the Future. And what stands out to me is these two ibises, and I'm gonna get Thoth energy from that. Not focusing, like I said, on those past things and the feelings. Those are the things that need to be let go. But in the ancient Egyptian Netero or whatever, Thoth is the god who is about wisdom, and like he thought himself into existence. And so that's what he's kind of showing the Panther. He's like, look, here's this guy who only focused on what he wanted, how to move forward, and by doing so, he I think, therefore I am. That's something to kind of go into. I seen somewhere say, no, I don't, that saying, I think, therefore I am, isn't quite correct. I feel, therefore I am. And either way, you can go into each one and go deeper and deeper, but this is saying to focus what you want to feel on the up. So if you're at this rut part here, and you know you want to be up here, it's like going within, feeling that hurt or that pain and accepting it. And now taking light and allowing that to show you the life lessons that came from it, right? Because if you didn't learn this, you wouldn't have ever been able to even level up here. Because on status quo, right, if you never had sadness, you'd never know that you were happy, right? Let's say you're like super happy all the time, you would just, it would get boring for you. So we kind of need these ebbs and flows, because it's like a pendulum. If you've dealt with this much sadness, because you transmute that, you now get to experience this much happiness. If you only ever just stay here, you just stay here, and you don't get this experience. And so the last card of the cycle is balance, stability, standing firm. But it was in reverse. Oh, something's happened. Guides are coming in. I guess there's more to this message that let me just tap in a second. Okay. Because I thought the upright stability, balance would have been the outcome. Sorry, the song's coming in again. The first cut is the deepest. When it comes to loving me, he's the one. Oh, they're showing me in my trip today. Because it said balance, and like, so that's what I do. I have my morning routine, and I don't ever go out of it. But by going out of my routine, that's where the healing came today. That's where all these aha moments and these insights and this new direction came, because I got out of my comfort zone. To me, it was unbalanced, but by going and helping my friend, I got helped, right? And I was so concerned, oh, I'm not gonna make it home in time to make my videos. Like, you know, I think you need your discipline and things like that, but healing happens when you go out and live life, right? You can't just keep protecting and hiding and sheltering and expect to change, right? It's when you go out into life and you see all these different things, like I got thrown in rush hour, it's slippery, all these things. It really kept me alert, and it put me more present than if I just stayed home and did my regular self-care type things. Yeah, and any other words, because we're gonna wrap this up soon. When you get out of your comfort zone, that's when the cycle completed, and then that's when the letting go, or going with the flow now comes back upright. And it's like a cycle. That's what he's saying. I want one. I don't need cards, but I want one. He's saying, no, you don't need cards. Continue on these ones. Casey's telling me I have to go through the cycle again, because we weren't feeling good. We're in a rut, all that. We went within. We're like, oh, we got this pain here. What is this pain? Oh, it gave me an emotion. Okay, you don't even need to know how or why that emotion got there, just to know that it's there. So you work through it and you empower it, you change it, transmute it, because now that has solved multiple layers, multiple cycles, rather than going from this one to this one. This one, if you go layer to layer to each time you had a thing, that could take years of healing. Whereas if you literally go to the pain or feeling in your body, find that emotion and transmute that, that's almost like instant healing. That's how you can just heal so many layers, and rather than focus so much on the past, you get to go to the future with optimism and joy. And now, because of that, now the balance is like, right? It made you go out of it, but the second time you go through this cycle, it's a positive one for the healing journey. So sometimes when you think you've finished everything, it's like you have to go through once more. Whereas the first time you were going deeper and deeper and deeper, now you're gonna work your way through the same cycle higher and higher and higher. And each time it's just leveling that bar up each time. So your status quo of what's normal will now be a little bit higher, a little more positive, but you'll constantly always be going through this. Even when you get to the end, it's like, do it again, right? You'll never be finished because you'll always have something to work through. And so I have kitty cat cards, and because it's a panther, I just want to pull one final message for our collective today on how to help transmute their energy until next week. Okay, we got a few. It's that one. Are you sure? Let me feel. Woo, it's that one. Okay. Which one does this say? The card says tenderness. And as soon as I heard it, it was the song Otis Redding, Try a Little Tenderness. So we're going back to old school songs, right? And it's like that song. Is Otis Redding? No, he's not the original. Is he? Oh man, I don't know now. Because I do know. Okay. I don't think he's the original. For some reason, I feel like saying Sam Cooke. Either way, I'll have to look this up after, but they're showing me two scenarios. The first one was the first cut is the deepest, and going to the original and how it had so much raw and grit and all that. But then another thing that I love, and it's like, once you've kind of worked your way up and now you're on this part, I'm seeing Otis Redding's Tenderness, or Try a Little Tenderness, because my favorite album by him is the remakes, or is that the right word? Covers? The covers that he did of Sam Cooke. And Otis Redding just, I love Sam Cooke so much, but Otis Redding added that grit and that PP Arnold had in the first one. And so here is like focusing on the original will save you so many layers to deal with. And then when you're up here, it's taking what you already have and adding your individuality to it. I love Otis Redding's covers of, like I said, Sam Cooke. Yeah, they're just playing the song. And yeah, so maybe if you go and listen to those two songs, right? We had that compassion, that Try a Little Tenderness. Oh my, okay. Here, she's covering her heart with compassion. Here, compassion. But then here, it now, from compassion, became empowerment, right? And then she takes it to the sacral, which is all about your creativity and passion. And then from there, she brings it up and finds the balance. So it's like finding that love, and then from there becomes, it's bringing this energy down and then back into balance. So if you want to look into the chakra systems, that might have a message for some people, but I don't feel like that is too much into this reading today. That's just a little extra energy work for the energy workers, but really just having that compassion for yourself, and then taking that old school song, that feeling, that cycle, and empowering yourself to add your new spin to it. Whereas the first message was others kind of, each one kind of got a little bit more soft. When you do the healing and you get back to your status quo, now you can add your grit and all that. So it's a balance, right? All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. It's 222 on the phone. I hope you have an empowered day. I hope when the shadow work comes up, you find that tenderness and that compassion for yourself, because it's such important work to do, and it doesn't have to be negative all the time. And again, I hope you find your guide, because the guide that helps me is a Panther, but he always wants me to tell, find who works with you and just integrate that into your life and allow that to blossom into sunshine. All right. Bye, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.